Good. So, welcome to the Remford Expert Webinar Series. Currently, we have today a very big time difference of 10 hours. And what can I say? Good evening, New Zealand. Hello, everybody, and good morning here in Europe. My name is Manfred Tauber, and I am Head of Dental Education at Remford. Today, and it's my pleasure, I would like to welcome Matteo Moro from Wellington, New Zealand. Since November 2009, Matteo and his wife are the owners of the laboratory Icon Moro Dental Atelier in Wellington. His education and career started in Italy, 1995. Matteo Moro is a master dental technician, a macro photographer, member of dental organizations, and speaker at national and international conferences. With this webinar, Matteo Moro presents non-prep and minimal prep ceramic restorations on refractory die. Now I look forward to an exciting presentation under the title Ceramic Fragments and Contact Lens Veneers, and hand over to you, Matteo.
Thank you, Manfred. Thank you for inviting me. I feel double privilege to be here today. There is an objective privilege, then is be part of this group and be a speaker for Remford. And this is thank you. And this is a subjective privilege. Then let's say then officially I'm not yet in the Remford family. I'm in the thank you. I'm in the state of adoption. I was waiting you and Janet to officialize, but time will come. And okay, yes, we can start the presentation. As you mentioned, Manfred, obviously the topic is a ceramic fragment contact lens veneer, but before go further, I wish to add something more about myself. I'm born in Italy, in a small city called Udine, not far from Venice. But Venice actually have a great impact in my life. I live in Venice for 1 year, and from that day I decided to spend and possibly live the rest of my life in an island. So in 2006 to 2007, I have the opportunity to work in Nomea, New Caledonia. The funny thing is that I was the only Italian in the island when Italy was playing the final of the Soccer World Cup with France, and we won. And so I survived, but let's say that I have to move to another country. So I moved to Wellington, New Zealand, where I established after a few years my own laboratory. I don't consider Icon Moro actually a laboratory. It's more like a playground for me. So, touch the word lightly. Why? Well, because it's precious. And so if the word is precious, how precious is a human tooth? So it's not precious because I consider it precious or because anybody else consider a tooth precious. But if we ask to a tooth why it is precious, he will probably answer then, I am a unique masterpiece of the nature, doesn't exist any other tooth equal as me. So respect myself, and if you have to touch me, cut me, do very carefully, because when you cut, it's cut forever. And so if the topic is a ceramic fragment and contact lens veneer. The contest is minimal invasive and ultra conservative dentistry. The challenge is to provide a vanishing restoration, the high aesthetic restoration, with the minimal intervention of the natural teeth. I want that you focus also on ×2 of minimum, then I will explain better later. This is a case that I come across a year ago. Looked like a quite easy case. We have a temporary crown on the chew one, the temporary replacing an old PFM crown. And when we asked the patient, what about the gap in the diastema? She said, well, I don't mind to close the diastema, I just want to reduce the diastema. And so the easy solution then the dentist suggests is build up a direct composite on the mesial surface of the 1-1 and have a ceramic crown on the chew one. But when we listen Albert Einstein, he said that then there is always an easy solution for a complex problem, and is always wrong. So if we consider this case an easy solution, the easy solution will be ceramic on the chew one and composite on the 1-1. What's the problem? The problem is then on the chew centrals, we have 3 materials: natural tooth, ceramic, and composite. This is actually a patchwork, because we have 3 materials that react to light in a different way, 3 materials that react to stain and liquid absorption in a different way. So the ×2 minimal means that we have to minimalize the number of the materials. And so we suggest, rather than use a composite, to provide, to build a non-prep ceramic fragment. And so this is what we did. Obviously, the final aesthetic result is in the end of the dentist. And this is actually what I like most about ceramic fragments, because the dentist has to be able to polish together the ceramic fragment and the natural tooth together. And this is part of the second side of the lecture, actually. Why wax up? Wax up is, for me, extremely important because it's the project of each case, and is also very important for the dentist that work with us, because if 0.2, 0.4 thickness of ceramic make the difference between a non-prep ceramic fragment and a non-prep contact lens veneer, this is something that we must know in advance. Why? Because through the wax up, we can guide the dentist in where and if is necessary to provide a finishing line. And so if I go back, and we need to close the diastema, ceramic fragment is sufficient. But if we need to change a little bit the shape of the lateral, actually the finishing line started to move more on the distal and to cover eventually and reinforce the distal point of contact with the non-prep or minimal prep veneer. So ceramic wax up is extremely important. Obviously, from the wax up, we can mock up often and give a very good idea to the patient where we want to go. Let me say then, we developed this system with our mistakes through experience. I don't want to tell you only why I do those steps, but I also want to tell you and share with you why I don't do other steps. So obviously one of the main questions today is digital or analog for this kind of restoration. I will not give you an answer because my opinion doesn't really matter, but I want to show you an experiment that we did, because obviously was a decision that we have to make ourselves. So we take a natural tooth and we decided to, and extracted the natural tooth, and we decided to build up a non-prep ceramic fragment. So we take a digital impression, but also we take a conventional impression. So digital and analog. We use 3 shape for the digital. We use infragamma for the conventional, in order to obtain 2 die, one obviously in resin, 3D printed from the digital, and one in die stone from the conventional. The next step was duplicate them with silicone in order to obtain the matrix, where actually put our refractory material. So we obtain the 2 refractory dies, and we build in both of them 2 different ceramic fragments. And in the end, we go back to the natural tooth in order to check the fit. And this is the fit of the ceramic fragment on the analog, from the analog impression. And this is the second ceramic fragment and the fit, obviously from the digital impression. The success of ceramic fragments, and obviously lens contact veneer, is the fit, is the precision. And so I leave you to judge which way today, 2020, is worthy. Another question that come across obviously is monolithic or layered. Why don't do monolithic, or why layered? When we observe natural teeth are never monolithic. I want to give you this example. Let's presuppose that we need a non-prep ceramic fragment on the mesial surface of the chew one in order to close the gap, close the diastema. So this is the simulation of our ceramic fragment. And if I need to layer this ceramic fragment, I will use pretty much this kind of mix between the ceramic powders. It's difficult for a dentist to copy this kind of transition with a direct composite, and still is not monolithic. When we put upside down the ceramic fragment, we can see by contrast much better the difference and the transition between the cervical and the incisor. So obviously with a monolithic, it's impossible to achieve this transition because the shade on natural teeth doesn't come from the surface, come from deep. And it's not possible to do a 0.2 monolithic veneer or a ceramic fragment so thin because it doesn't exist a milling machine able to do so in terms of fit, in terms of strength. There is not a press technique that allows us to achieve this kind of aesthetic and precision in the same time. So why layered and not use a monolithic? This is another example. So we have a case of a strong erosion. This is not a prep tooth. This is what it is. And we have the problem, then we have the thin exposed, a discoloration, then we need to block out in a 0.6, 0.8 thickness. So if I use a monolithic, I have to use a pretty opaque ingots in order to block out the discoloration. But if you focus on the external side of the natural tooth, I need actually a transparent ceramic to match the rest of the tooth. So monolithic solution, if it's opaque, is not good. If it's too transparent, is not good because I can't block out the discoloration. So in my opinion, to achieve the best aesthetic is still layered ceramic, where we can focus on the discoloration using very opaque ceramic just above the dentine exposed. As you can see, we use a much more transparent ceramic on the side in order to take the shade from the natural tooth. Why I use a refractory and why I use an alveolar model? Well, there are many reasons. An alternative is obviously platinum foil. Personally, I don't use platinum foil for 3 reasons. One is the fit, in my experience, on the margin is not precise as the refractory technique. Second reason is that the platinum foil is more and more expensive. And the third reason is then when we use platinum foil, unfortunately, we have to sacrifice the soft tissue. I learned then the soft tissue play a huge importance in aesthetic restoration. I need the soft tissue in order to control the emergence profile. I need to know where the papilla are. I need to know the position of the papillas, where I can push, where I can relax the soft tissue. And I don't want to go in a try-in with the bad surprise of open cervical embrasure and have to add ceramic after without the support of the refractory. So soft tissue and alveolar model is very important. Why I use a resin rather than plaster? Again, there are a few reasons. You can see details in a resin, surface details, then the dye stone is not able to emulate. In case like this one, when I work in a single central, I always use a different kind of color from the model to the point of reference. In this case, why the 2-1 is white, because I want a contrast between my point of reference and the rest of the model. And often my model is a removable tooth, so I can actually in my hands check all the surface of my model. Resin is obviously much stronger than plaster, and so it doesn't break. I use often to stain the ceramic, the premixed ceramics, because by contrast of color, I have a full control of the position of each ceramic. And obviously resin is a hydrophobic material, so it's actually a nightmare for me work in a dye, then go dry all the time, because the model itself absorbs the water of the ceramic. Working in a resin model, you have totally freedom in time and in the water control of your ceramic. I use an alveolar model for the work, and obviously I check the fit on single dies and point of contact and occlusion on a solid model. So bonding, now we go close to topic that interests more dentists, obviously. Let me say then, I like to guide and to help as much as possible the dentist in the bonding and the fitting process. So we develop some guides that works very well. When we have a ceramic fragment, as this one, we actually provide a very thin, clear silicone stent. You can see how thin he is from the incisal edge of the teeth underneath. So it's pretty skinny. We know, and we can see on transparency, the finishing line between the ceramic fragment and the tooth. Then I mark with a red line here. We cut a window a little bit further, let's say 1 millimeter, but even less. Why? Because the dentist can use this window as a guide for selective air abrasion, and we suggest aluminum oxide at 27 micron. So what's the point to sandblast a part of the tooth then should be untouched? The dentist use the same selective guide in order to etch and prime. So again, we protect the next teeth and the surface of the tooth from sandblasting and etching, where it's not necessary to sandblast and etch. In case of ceramic fragments and lens contact veneer, we also provide, after the drying, we provide a transparent silicone stent. We do the process, or the dentist can do the process of the preparation of the interface. So etching, cleansing, ultrasonic bath. And as you can see, the fragment or the ceramic veneer are always inside of the clear silicone stent. So nobody touch and nobody has to hold with fingers or with a sticky stick. So the clear position guide allows to have visual control, have to be transparent. Obviously, all the ceramic fragment of the veneer in the right position, because obviously it comes from the solid model. Protect the aesthetic ceramic surface from the etching agents. Preserve the internal ceramic interface from contamination. Hold the fragment during the ceramic interface preparation. Help to distribute homogeneously the pressure during the luting process. Decrease the risk of fracture of the ceramic, and allow the overflow of the bonding agent. I'll show you this quick video. Then this is actually show a couple of mistakes that often unexperienced dentists do, and I want to show you because I can tell you what is possible to eventually improve. We have a ceramic fragment and we have a contact lens veneer inside of the silicone stent. And obviously the problem here is the quantity of the composite. And also the problem is then it's been applied directly from the syringe to the surface of the ceramic. Unfortunately, you have not control in the quantity, so we suggest to squeeze always the bonding agent on side and apply the right amount of the product with a small brush directly after in the internal surface of the ceramic. So this is our clear silicone guide with the ceramic fragment inside. So this is the bonding process. Fit the ceramic restoration with a clear silicone key and a light cure through for 5 seconds. Now remove the silicone key in order to remove the overflow of the bonding agent. Apply the glycerin gel for the final light curing for oxygen inhibition. And always choose a high translucent bonding agent with the lowest shrinkage. Polishing, and now we go more on the ceramic fragment side, because polishing a ceramic fragment, especially non-prep, is not easy, and this is what dictates the final aesthetic result. So we suggest to use these silicone discs in this order. They are pretty small. This is obviously very important because we work intraorally. But unfortunately, when you buy, when you open the box, this is actually too thick. We have to customize in order to obtain an edge more thin that can adapt itself much better to the surface of the ceramic fragment. Otherwise, it's very easy to damage the fragment and the natural tooth as well. Always polish the ceramic from the ceramic to the natural tooth, never the other way around. I want to show you this case that we did a few months ago, and we have 2 old ceramic veneer on the 2 laterals, and we have already now 2 temporary crowns replacing 2 broken ceramic crown. What worried me in this case was not actually the aesthetic problem, but was mainly the functional problem. We focus on the shape of the 2 canines. We have no cusps. We have lateral guidance on excursion, no canine guidance. So again, the question was, should we do a composite build up on the cusp of the canine? Should we cut back the canine and provide a veneer? We decided to provide non-prep ceramic fragment on the cusp of the canine together with the anteriors. So we re-established the gum profile a little bit better, and again, from a diagnostic workshop, we was able to mock up and to check canine guidance. And this is before, and this is after. So we have a canine guidance on ceramic, not on composite, and without sacrifice the structure of the natural canines. Limits. We have to recognize limits, obviously, if there are any. So, in my opinion, one of the biggest limits is find a master dentist and a master ceramist, because, well, everybody can do this kind of restoration, but to do successfully, you need a teamwork. Not only, you need a very skilled dentist and ceramist in order to try to not make mistakes. Okay? Then in ceramic fragment and contact lens veneer are very easy to spot. And often a mistake is broken a ceramic fragment, so, or a ceramic veneer. There is obviously the fragility of a 0.2 veneer, and this is why we need an experienced dentist in order to work with this kind of thickness. Another limit is mask discoloration, strong discoloration under 0.6, 0.8. So don't expect that then the technician will do miracle in order to block out darkness under those kind of spacers. As you saw with your eyes, there is a discrepancy from the 3D printed model. It's not more about, the digital impression are pretty accurate, I will say. The problem today is then transferring the data to a 3D printed model is the discrepancy. And obviously there is a potential stain of the joint line between ceramic and tooth. But if the ceramic fragment is very precise and if the dentist is able to polish and vanish this line, the stain is impossible to capture with our eyes. From a laboratory point of view, there is a risk of obtain a 0.0 veneer. This is unfortunately something that happened to me when I was removing the refractory dye, even using 2 bar of pressure and Glasperlen sand. The ceramic was so thin on that area that, well, I caused this hole. Another limit is when in thin spessor, the dentist choose a bonding agent with important shrinkage percentual. Why? Because can crack the ceramic surface. So those are 4 veneers, non-prep, and when we dry, after 2 weeks check, you can see the crack line on the 2 centrals. The veneer are still on place because this fracture is visible only when the teeth are very dry, so not in normal condition, but is a failure, obviously. So this is the reason why we suggest to use a bonding agent with very low shrinkage. This is the last case that I want to present. This patient fractured the 2 centrals, carry for a long time a direct composite. You can see the discoloration, the poor aesthetic. So the question was, should we prep for a veneer or should we keep as much as possible the natural structure of the buccal surface of the 2 central as it is and work on ceramic fragments? So again, wax up, we was able to guide the dentist in the decision and in the prep. So we ask a minimal prep, have a finishing line. You can see the beauty of the natural shade of teeth underneath. So we want to use that. Those are the 2 refractory dye where we build up the 2 ceramic fragments. Those are the fragments on the model. And those are the 2 fragments on the mouth of the patient. The dentist was able to polish very well together natural teeth and ceramic fragments. So the structure of natural tooth is being very well preserved. I want to say goodbye in Maori language. So kia ora metemi means thank you very much and goodbye. I want to say kia ora metemi with a gift. Then I make for Renfert. I think Renfert gave me the opportunity to be here in front of you today, so I wish to give something back. And it's a video, then take a few months. As you may know, Alfred, I'm collecting teeth, and a friend of mine is collecting skulls. So we record videos and we present for the first time this video to the workshop last week at the dental school of Dunedin here in New Zealand for the students.
Teeth, a tool beautifully and brilliantly designed for specific purposes, as eating and self-defense. A tool which is common to different species, mammals, fish, reptiles, amphibians, invertebrates. Each dentition and each tooth designed for a specific purpose. Cut, tear, crush, grind. Each one specialized, and each one shaped in minimal detail. Incisors, canines, premolars, molars, each one structured internally and externally to be perfectly efficient. We are called to look, observe, and learn from nature, to be able to emulate nature.
Thank you.
So it was very interesting. Thank you very much for your excellent lecture and pictures. I love also your pictures. And I know this veneer techniques from my past. I learned this from Oliver Briggs many, many years ago, and it was always a challenge. It was not easy, and I'm totally with you that it must be a team of a dental technician and also dentists. Then we have the possibility to copy the nature. Good, you are always welcome. Thank you very much. And thank you for the attendees, participants. Follow also our post at Renford Expert Webinar Series. We will post at the Facebook, all our social media channels. And next week, we offer the next interesting webinar with Thanasis Kalogeropoulos from Athens, from Greece, about morphology and function is also a topic what is important, and I hope we will have also a lot of attendees. Again, Matteo, thank you very much. Wish you all the best, and we will hear us, and hopefully we will see us in New Zealand. Okay?
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Goodbye. Bye bye. Ciao.